Throne and Liberty is set to have their final test before release sometime here in February. And in the announcement and in the post itself, when I covered this yesterday, there's a few things that I kind of missed. And I thought this and chalked this up to translation, but Don Warren messaged me directly over in my Discord, and I saw a couple of people comment this here in the comments on the last video. And I want to point to this, and it reads, NCSoft will conduct the final test at the Pango R&D Center. That's an in-person test. That means that obviously when I was going through the registration, none of this is going to download to my PC. All of this is going to be in person. And there's 2 points to that, and this video is going to have a pretty, hopefully interesting flow for you, because the first question I have for anybody who might be in the know, the internet actually did not return an answer for this question, but is that normal? Like, if you're a South Korean gamer, is that pretty standard where these final tests and these beta tests actually aren't on your machines, but they're held in an event center? Something like that? I really want to know. But beyond that piece of it, this video is going to kind of build off of that. Because if you guys have been following Throne and Liberty, I would still submit Throne and Liberty is still a mystery to us all. Now, because of its nature, both in South Korea and NCSoft, many people have already written off this game. And so this video, I'm going to talk about the marketing that they're doing currently right now and why I think they're actually doing it really well, because there is a business of killing joy, especially when it comes to video games out there. And while that topic alone, the business of killing joy, is going to be a video here on the channel, hopefully here in the next week or two, you're going to get a little bit of preview in today's video. So buckle up, sit down. If you guys like these videos, hitting those like buttons is a great way of not just saying thank you, but it's a great way of telling YouTube, hey, maybe recommend this video to somebody else who has yet to see my content. Speaking of which, for those of you who are subscribed, you guys are magnificent beasts, and thank you so much for doing so. And for those of you who have yet to subscribe and this is your first video here with me, welcome in. My name's Brian, and I love video games. I also have a whole army of children, and so we like to game together. But for this channel, I like to specifically talk about RPGs, especially if we can play them together. And that's going to be what you're going to get here. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive in. First and foremost, I want to give a couple of facts, because I'm seeing a couple questions pop up in all of my Throne and Liberty videos. Basically, it's launching first half of 2023. It is console and PC. They didn't even mention streaming to mobile, which is genius. Now, you might not like mobile. I don't like mobile. We're in agreement right there. But streaming to mobile is different, because that means it is rendering on a high-powered computer and it is streaming to your device. I personally use GeForce Now. They are not sponsoring me. I truly like it. I also use Shadows PC. They're not sponsoring me. I like it because as a dad, like I said, cloud gaming gives me an immense amount of flexibility. That's actually the biggest flaw in Forspoken, which is literally I cannot play on GeForce Now, which means that I can only really play on one device in my house. And that kind of feels a little bit frustrating, but this isn't a Forspoken video. I just thought I'd kind of call that out. The fact that this game is already built and baked in for that, it's going to open up the game a lot to me personally. People like me as well. Not everybody's got great internet. I get it, but that's going to be fixed with time. Now, I want to focus here on marketing, because when I talk about how this game is a mystery to us all, we know very, very little about what this game is. We know only really what they've shared, and you can peruse the internet and you can start to get a picture, and that picture is pretty blank. You know, it's like when it comes down to it. And that's where, when I think about it, like, I think they're handling the marketing of this game incredibly well. I think the fact that this is not a solved game, that people have not data mined all of the information, it's already poured out online for us, makes an interesting perspective. We haven't actually kind of seen these things happen in a while. And that's really this business of killing joy that I alluded to. Now, what I get on that, and I think hopefully I'll do a much better job when I finish the script and, you know, really kind of bring all the data to that video itself. But in regards to content creators, let's look at myself. Let's focus in on Brian here as just the aspect of part of the problem, right? Content creators bring a level of value, but when you try to make, I think, content creation, especially around games, your life, it is the temptation and the ease to chase after the view because of the necessity of chasing that revenue ends up, I think, kind of hurting the system overall. And no better proof of my point here is Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush was shadow dropped, and people really adore it. Now, when it comes to different style of games, do I think Hi-Fi Rush would have received the same marketing and hype that it had if it had not done what it did? No, I think what you would have seen is people would have heard the announcement and then been like, oh, okay, that'd be interesting to play, and they'd forget about it. Or if they were really excited about it, eventually that excitement ends up getting turned against them. Or you end up having people who are going to make all kinds of videos going over the details of the game and solving the game even before somebody has the chance to truly experience it. And experiencing in games is, I think, one of the key differences in terms of all forms of media. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say every content creator out there, shouldn't do what they do. If they've got the support and they can literally, feed themselves and their families. But I feel like what I end up knowing from kind of a behind the scenes baseball perspective is that a lot of them are just barely making it. And so the stress and the pressure, I think it would have to get to them, and has to. I can't fathom a world in which that just barely making it, living and dying based off of the success of video games is a healthy mindset, a healthy way to live. But when we look at this, when we look at the streaming and the culture, it's not going away. This video in and of itself and this topic in and of itself doesn't make it disappear. Far from it. Like, that's going to continue on. I'm going to continue to make videos. But I think, and what I hope is that when it comes down to it, when we see a shift in marketing, when we see this mindset that with Throne and Liberty, it doesn't give you years and years and years of being excited and being hyped and then eventually getting frustrated, maybe the Ashes of Creation model. It does to call out to, you do have to release a good game. Hi-Fi Rush is a good game. If you actually would compare Hi-Fi Rush to Forspoken, it's interesting, right? Like, both of these are, good games or decent games. Not they're all going to resonate with you individually, one-on-one, but then you take it into, like, especially a game that takes as long as an MMO as Throne and Liberty, and then all of a sudden you start kind of putting the pieces together. You see a lot of the anti and the pro, and you kind of end up building kind of this weird marketing sensation of people just fighting each other online, to the point where sometimes it wins, sometimes it loses. And so here we are with Throne and Liberty. To kind of bring this all back to a point, is that they're locking down their test. We know it's coming out in 2023. But there's really very little that else we know about it. To the point where people are going to speculate. People are going to, I saw a comment like, hey, it's going to be 6 months and then it's abandoned. Anything is really possible. But I think if anything else, why I want to sit down and talk to you guys today about it, especially because I saw the comments and I saw people DMing me about this, is the mystery. I think that's a part of the game. I think that's a part of the fun. And yes, when the game is out, there will be content, there'll be guides, because there's a demand for that. Like, that's the other side of the coin. Content creators exist because people are willing to watch the video, or to, engage with the video, or, watch the stream, etc. That demand, there's a supply for that. I just think what we've seen in recent years, and I think what we might see this year alone, is kind of a change. Honestly, it feels like something is about to change, and it could be substantial, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll call back to that and be like, oh, that was the thing that I was kind of feeling. It just kind of feels like, I don't know, the bottom's going to fall out of the content creation game. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for listening to my ramblings on about Throne and Liberty as we get ready for more news and information. Clearly, it'll be interesting to see if they were able to share anything after this final test. Again, if you're in Korea and you're physically there, maybe you'll be able to get a part of that. And we'll have to see what happens from there. This could also be a horrible sign that they're just not ready for more and more people to play it. But it's going to be fun one way or the other. Like, it's good. 2023 is going to be a wild time. It's going to be wild. Anyway, thanks so much for your time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys are interested in some of my other videos, they're up here on screen. Check them out. I think this is what YouTube thinks you will enjoy. And thanks so much for being here. Until next time, take care.